Guys, welcome to this training. We are talking about the self-belief system. One of the biggest issues I see is that people don't have the self-esteem, the self-trust to actually see difficult things through. And that's what we're talking about here. We're going to build a system that's going to help you achieve an unbelievable level of transformation. Okay, so what people don't realize is that the biggest transformation of all starts inside the head, not inside the gym. And that's what we're going to go into. But the real issue, first and foremost, is that most people don't actually have a fitness problem. They have a belief issue. You know what to do. Yeah, you've done it before. The plan isn't the issue. You know that we need to eat well, exercise regularly, work out, lift resistance, lift weights, help with our bone density, help with muscle tissue, all of that stuff. But the issue is people stop trusting themselves, or they don't trust themselves enough to actually see through things when difficult. You've got the knowledge, yeah, the history's there, you've done it before, yeah. What's missing isn't the information. What's missing is the internal conviction that this time is gonna be actually different, that you will be different. And that's what we need to nail down here. So it isn't a lack of knowledge, is it? It isn't a lack of knowing what to do. It's a lack of conviction that you can see it through. And that's what we're looking at. So why do people generally have low self-belief and self-esteem initially? Well, first up, it's a broken promise. And this continually happens all the time. So every time you miss a workout, you don't get your steps in, you don't eat something that's necessarily on plan, or that's actually fine. But if you do it continually, every time you do that, you're making a withdrawal from your self-trust account. All right. And this accumulates over time. So if you do this enough times, it's like anything. If you do something, small things compound a lot over time, and it goes both ways, positively and negatively. So if you do that enough time, if you break promises to yourself enough times, that evidence stacks against you. Your own track record becomes the you can't do this. You know, that it becomes an argument for why you cannot make change long term, and then it becomes a pattern. So it isn't a weakness. I really want to get people to understand that this isn't a weakness. It's just a learned response. The human mind is fantastic at learning things and just making that a repetition and a pattern. You trained yourself unintentionally to expect failure, and that is the real issue here. So low self-belief and low self-esteem isn't necessarily a character flaw. It's a pattern, and patterns can be changed, which is obviously good news. Now, how does this impact your health? Now, obviously, that's what we're looking at here, is health and fitness and wellness. Low self-belief has a very recognizable shape. You've probably lived it. I know I have. Starting on Monday, buzzing, full of commitment, high energy, you're ready to go. This time it's actually going to be different, right? You go all in for 2 weeks. You're killing it. You're smashing it. You're feeling good. Progress is starting to get visible. You can feel the changes as well. You have a bad day. So whether or not you've gone out with the family, or you've had a birthday, or you've had a couple of days off on holiday, the streak is broken. Then the story starts to change, because what most people do is they think they've ruined progress. So they stop. They drift a bit. They wait to feel motivated again. They wait to feel ready again, and then the cycle resets. So you start again on that Monday. You're buzzing in 3 or 4 weeks' time. The cycle isn't laziness at all. Okay, it really isn't. It's patterns, isn't it? It's all a pattern that you've learned over time. It's what happens when you don't trust yourself to bounce back. And this is where my rule, never miss twice, comes in. Okay. So if you've been really, really good, and you've eaten really well for 2 weeks in a row or whatever, and then you miss once, so you have a packet of crisps, you have a chocolate bar, something that isn't on plan, then what happens is people tend to spiral, because they think, oh, what's the point? I can't do this. I can't be perfect. And then it completely goes to shit. All right. That's what we don't want. We want to stay in the game long enough. And that generally comes from a lack of self-trust and a lack of self-belief that you can actually stick it out. So to do that, never miss twice comes into play. You have a meal that isn't on plan, doesn't matter. The next one's going to be on plan. You miss a workout, doesn't matter. You get the next workout in. If you can start to do that, you start to build self-trust that you get things done, even when it would be easier to kind of throw the towel in, okay? So the self-trust account that I was speaking about before, confidence is evidence, right? You don't just get confident, you have to have evidence to back up your confidence. Confidence isn't a feeling that you just have before you act upon something. It's a stack of evidence that you build by acting upon certain things, especially, that's a big word there, especially when you don't feel like doing it. So every time you do what you said you were going to do, you make a deposit into this self-trust account. Small promises kept over time is how you rebuild your confidence and your self-belief and self-trust. That account doesn't care how big the action is. It could be a 5-minute walk. instead of doing your marathon training program. Something in the right direction. Consistency is the follow through. Consistency of follow through is the currency. Okay, very important that you do this, and it goes the other way. Every time you don't do something and every time you skip something, you're withdrawing. So we want to deposit into that account rather than withdraw from that account. Hopefully this is making sense. So how do we start rebuilding from here? Now, the first thing is you do not need a perfect plan. We really need to get over the fact that we think we need to be perfect. You just need a starting point that you can actually protect. All right? Pick one non-negotiable. Choose one single action that is so small that skipping it would feel embarrassing for you. It's not a full program. It's not a full life overhaul. Just one small thing. Protect it like your life depends on it. So not when it's convenient, not when you feel motivated, because that's never it, is it? We're not motivated most of the time. Every day this week, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what your schedule is looking like, regardless of your circumstances, you protect that one non-negotiable. You stack it. You stack the win. Once that's solid, you add another. So once that non-negotiable, you've been consistent with it, you're like, yes, I've done this for a week now, it's all good, you stack another one on top. And then we do the same for that, but we maintain the other non-negotiable as well. And what that does, it isn't building a routine, it's building evidence. It's building a body of evidence that you are somebody that follows through and gets shit done. And that's what we want here. And then you collect proof from that. So like I said before, you don't need a perfect week. You need proof that you can show up. And when you have that proof, you can start to build your confidence, because it becomes the foundation that all of your health and fitness and wellness progress is built upon. So some examples of the non-negotiables would be like a portion of protein with every single meal. Don't track every single gram, just a portion of protein on the plate. 8,000 steps a day, nice straightforward one. 3 training sessions, setting a bedtime. If you can get 4 nights out of 7, lock that in. 2 liters of water every day, non-negotiable. We're human beings, we need 2 liters of water. Nice, simple non-negotiables. And when they're in place, this is when the identity starts to shift. Now, when your identity starts to shift and you become someone who trains well, eats good food, gets good sleep most of the time, drinks enough water, is active, is healthy, is energetic, when that becomes your identity, or starts to, the results follow suit. Change your identity, and then all the results take place after. The old model would have been, you set a goal, you try to feel motivated, which never happens, you act when you're ready, now and again, every blue moon, you'll feel motivated, and you'll start, and you hope the results follow that. That's the old model. The new model, or the real model, decide who you are first and foremost. Act from that identity. So who are you? Who do you want to become? Act, even fake it till you make it sometimes, until that starts to become your reality. The results will follow naturally, and then that identity gets stronger and it deepens. All right? You do not rise to your goals, you fall to your identity. The person you want to become doesn't wait to feel like it. That person that you might think, I want to lose a bit of weight. No, you want to be the person who looks fantastic, is confident, can wear clothes with no worries at all. Goes on a holiday, walks around the pool, doesn't give a shit if anyone's looking at them. That's who you want to be, yeah? The person you want to become just does what needs to be done. They act from a place before it feels natural, before it feels earned. Start acting from that place right now, and before long, you won't be faking it. Before long, it becomes your identity, because that identity catches up to the behavior. It always does, every single time. Identity isn't what you claim, it's what you repeatedly do. It's a result of your actions. So a few private habits to reflect on here that you can start implementing, okay, and start thinking about. Do you get your steps in when nobody's checking? Do you do that? Because if you can start doing that and that becomes your identity, do you still make a decent meal when you're tired and alone, or do you opt for the pot noodle? Do you do that? Do you go to bed on time, or do you stay up scrolling on TikTok for another 2 hours, or Instagram Reels, or whatever, or Facebook? Do you train when it's inconvenient, or only when it fits into your life perfectly? The answers to these questions tell you where you are right now, and who you are, okay? And sometimes it might have to be some hard truths here. So if you answered any of those questions and you're like, you know what, I could do more there, good. That's what we do. We start building from there, okay? It's really, really straightforward habits to reflect on. Ask yourself these questions. And your action task now is, who are you when nobody is watching? Ask yourself that question right now, because this is where real self-belief is built. Not on a Monday when you're buzzing and motivation's high, in the quiet moments when nobody would know either way what you're doing, if you're going to the fridge or not, if you're skipping a workout or not, if you're not getting your steps in, if you're not drinking your water, if you're not getting those workouts in. That's the moments that build self-trust. Step one is to reflect. Write down one habit you do well already in private. Something that you do well, okay? Something consistent, something that shows that you follow through on things. Step two is to acknowledge that. So that habit is evidence that you can do this, and it proves the capability exists. So you're not starting from zero, you're just starting from proof, and then we're going to stack on top of that. So step three is to build. Use that habit as the foundation. We stack on top of it, okay? Add one more non-negotiable, either above it or alongside it, however you want to look at it. Stack those wins, let the evidence grow, and the system builds from there. The self-belief system isn't built in a single breakthrough moment that's magical. It's built one kept promise to yourself at a time. So hopefully this system is really resonated with you. Really important training. The biggest issue people have is a lack of self-belief. And if we can start to build your self-belief and self-trust, you can start to change your life. Any questions, guys, let me know, and I'll speak to you really soon.